Welcome to another live episode of An Echo of Glory. I think you're hearing me. We've gone... Hang on.
Oh, okay.
I think we might have a couple of technical issues. Bear with us.
Ask if they can hear us. Ask if
Ronnie, can you hear us?
Yeah, can anyone hear us? Could you let us know? I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we're all good. Let's go.
We're all good. Well, hello. I've gone full squad today.
I've got the camera.
You're on the camera. We're having a couple of technical issues. This is very apt. This is very apt.
At least we've got some good listeners.
For what's going on at
horror
Tottenham
show.
Hotspur.
Yeah, this is
Right, I've got a four ball here today. I don't play golf, but I've got a four ball here today. It's myself, it's Ollie Spiro.
Morning.
Morning. It's Gary Diamond.
Morning.
Morning. Jake Sanders. Morning. And it's me.
And we're all in black. We're all mourning.
Oh, this is blue.
As it blue.
Black
Looks
for
like.
Andrew's funeral.
Right, sorry about that. I thought we weren't being heard.
Volume low.
Volume low. I know we are. Can we turn the volume up? We are working on this. A few people have said this, and we are working on this. But we're going to go straight in to the pod, talking about our beloved Tottenham Hotspur. One of the teams won this weekend, or did it? Two teams won this weekend. The women beat Everton 2-1 with 2 goals from Beth England. Have you seen the goals, Gary?
No, I haven't seen the goals. Apparently they played well. Moves them into mid-table security, I think.
Yep.
I mean, they're kind of in no man's land. They're 6 points off of 5th.
That's where that's the highest they can finish, realistically. Isn't it?
They're literally...
There's a huge
But,
financial gap, isn't there? It's like that's the top clubs up there. And
They're 6 points off of 5th and 5 points off the bottom. It's just like mid-table nothing now, really.
are you allowed to say no man's land?
Yeah. Careful.
Yeah.
Careful. We'll get
No, I'm helping Gary.
get angry.
This is a diverse show.
I didn't notice that the academy played in the 4th round of the FA Youth Cup. Gary, thank you for pointing that out. Played Middlesbrough at home, who they smashed 5-1 or 6-1 in recent weeks. But they beat them 3-2.
Yeah, went 1-0 up. Got pegged back to... No, they went 1-0 down, I think. Then they got 1-1 at half-time. 2-1 up, 2-2, and Williams Barnett enhances his reputation. Every sort of tweet that was coming through the academy page was Williams Barnett this, Williams Barnett that, Williams Barnett has done this, won the penalty, and they're through to the 4th round of the cup. So well done them.
Gary, quick question actually: this is the under 18s, or are they playing quote Angeball?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it. I think throughout the club, after the disaster that was Conte. Oh, club news. Big one, this.
Well, hang on, do that.
Okay. After the...
By the way, everyone, I'm going to interrupt. I'm sorry for interrupting, but Gary's smiling now because of someone else's misfortune. I'm not sure how long that smile will carry on after that bit of news.
I think after Conte, there was a reset at the club and this is pertinent to the Ange conversation, actually, so it's a good question to have asked. But after Conte, there was the reset at the club where they wanted DNA and a style of play and a philosophy through the club.
Yeah.
And to that end, the last season, certainly the women were playing in that kind of way. The academy, the under-21s were playing in that way. So I assume that's carrying on, but I confess I haven't seen too much of them. But I think it's correct, the right way to go.
All right.
And your other club news.
Other club news, Gary.
My other club news, this is big, is that Lazio beat Napoli last night, 1-0. 79th minute goal from Isaksen. Hell of a goal as well, by the way.
It was a great goal.
It knocks Conte off the top of the league. No doubt there will be meltdowns incoming from Conte. Lovely to see.
You know that I don't know why I checked this, but that came 4 days after Lazio beat them in the cup as well.
Lazio done them twice, yeah.
So could one say that Lazio are a pretty decent team that are in a European tournament that we basically think our name is on?
They're picking up results. I think they're now 3 points off the top of Serie A, and they are certainly one of the contenders for the Europa League.
So pound for pound, I'd say they're probably a more organised and better team than we are.
Yeah, but it's Italian football. It can literally go wrong in the next 10 minutes. But I like the fact they played them twice in a week. Reminds me of when we played Wimbledon, 4 times in 10 days?
I think it was 5. Overall, it was 5 because you had a league game, 2 FA Cup, an FA Cup game, then a replay, and then two leg semi-finals. And I was at all 5 of them, and it went from unreal boredom I think the league game might have been 0-0 to some of the greatest moments of my life. And actually, sort of important to today's chat is actually Spurs getting to a cup final. We hadn't got to one since 91. And I was at that. This is 99. And we scored that goal, which I think would have probably been ruled off.
It was 100% offside. Everson lob.
Yeah, Everson lob.
100% offside.
Yeah, but the fans...
No, I didn't.
I was really annoyed with my dad because he wouldn't let us run on the pitch. But the Selhurst Park was 3 sides Tottenham, but there was just that feeling that
3 sides Tottenham.
Yeah, because
literally.
Semi-final.
No,
it doesn't matter.
But what we're saying is the fact that there was a feeling within the club that Tottenham Hotspur should be getting to finals of domestic cup tournaments. No, but there was like 8 years. How has it been 8 years?
I can relate this back. So 3 sides reminds me of Scottish football, which reminds me of our manager.
We'll come to all of it. I promise you.
Listen, we've
got to enough semi-finals already. Look, people in our comments are chomping at the bit to talk about Angelos Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur. I was going to do a little section on Christmas gifts. No, I'm joking. Right, let's do the lineup for yesterday's game. And something happened that reminded me of. Was it when Bentancur came back against Bournemouth on New Year's Eve?
I had such a feeling. A few minutes before, I don't know why I had this weird feeling. Van der Ven popped into my head, and I thought, "There's not been an update on it, has it?" And managers often do this for a big game because it really gets the crowd. I actually saw a tweet that said something about there was a massive roar in a pub when they saw the team news,
right?
Which is a bit over the top, but it gets fans up, especially for a big game, and it did because it.
So yeah, and I saw it when it came, and I thought Romero was going to play, because he had to play, and then you saw Van der Ven's name, and the team then picks itself really. Forster, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, 3 in front: Kulusevski, Basuma, Sarr, Johnson, Solanke, Son, and it reminded me of that. You start walking down the high road, and
there was a buzz after that.
There was a buzz. My expectations of the game were extremely low, and they raised a little bit.
We just lost to Brighton, hadn't we? We got battered by Brighton a few days before, and we really needed to win. And we were really injured. I think Basuma was injured because of that Forest red card, and we had all those injuries, and it really a bit like yesterday.
But hold on, you're going to say the rest of the team picks itself, and Gary probably would disagree with that comment. Not speaking for you, but you've got the choice of Maddison, Kulusevski rather than Johnson on the right, and we've spoken about it enough on here. Yes, the back post tap-ins have been vital for us, but as you go up in quality of opposition, you need to do that little bit more. And in fairness, he got an assist, which that is not
because Cucurella fell over.
But yeah, we'll come on to that. But the point is like ball retention against good teams is even more crucial. Therefore, do you need a Maddison and Kulusevski in the team? But yeah, is that
what you would have done?
You know what? I don't know anymore. But this is not part of the inconsistency thing. Like, I know, Gary, I think we've got a very small pool of players to pick from, and I don't really know what we all sit there, we all get excited about the team, or that's the right team, and then an hour and a half later, the result is it should have been that team. So kind of like...
No, I would have... I think I would have played Kulusevski. I was disappointed.
You mean Maddison, sorry. Kulusevski right.
Sorry, Kulusevski right, yes. I would have played Maddison and Kulusevski right. I was disappointed to see Johnson in the starting lineup. In fact, I think I sent a stat, which I found from somebody else, it wasn't my stat, about our record when Johnson has started versus when he hasn't. And it is stark. It is stark. And as much as he's popping up with goals, the point that Ollie made is exactly right. When you're playing a higher quality team, you need players who are able to retain the ball higher up the pitch, and Johnson isn't. Yes, he actually, to be fair to him, had one of his better games yesterday, I will say. He's wincing.
No, I think 15 minutes. He was out the game after the first 15 minutes.
But in those 15 minutes, he did okay. It was, he put in a good cross for the goal. It was great to see him beat a fullback, but it depended on the fullback slipping.
He didn't really beat him.
Exactly. That's the point. He didn't beat him. The guy slipped and let him in. But he puts in a good ball. But you're right. I would not have started Brennan Johnson.
Right. I don't want to go down another Johnson rabbit hole, but I get it. But he did start, and we are 1-0 up. What minute was that? 5. Cucurella falling over was absolutely hilarious. Good cross from Johnson. Great finish from Solanke.
Movement by Solanke.
His movement's always been pretty good.
His movement was brilliant, actually, because if you look, is it Badishweli? It was the centre half. He arcs his run to go back post, but then makes the dart to get in front of him, and therefore he gets his foot to the ball before it. So it's brilliant move. So
not an easy finish.
Well, because Sanchez had committed himself.
Yeah.
Look, it was just a good goal. Like Cucurella aside, from that moment on, Spurs have done everything perfectly. So yeah, it was a good goal, obviously, but massively helped by some.
We actually started well. I think we had a chance to go one up in the first minute. I can't.
Well, no, they gave the ball more than once in the entire game. Gave it straight to Kulu, who probably could have shot.
Yeah,
bit like
he had a chance to play Johnson. We did play Johnson, a bit too late, and Johnson.
We got the corner from
across,
it.
yeah.
We got the corner from it, but
and we're deadly from corners.
Yeah, apparently so. So yeah, we started okay.
And then history repeated itself. Cucurella fell over. Ball found its way to Porro. Finds its way to Cooley from where I was sitting in the ground. Thought it had gone wide.
So did I on the telly.
Oh, really? And it went in, and I was like, it felt we were 2-0 up after 11 minutes, and I'm very sorry to say, I was obviously happy. I wasn't that excited. It felt like, remember when Gary Doherty scored against Arsenal in the semi-final in 9, whatever it was, 2001 under Hoddle. I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm cool with this, but I don't trust this. And that's the bigger picture for me, is that I just didn't trust that we're 2-0 up at home to Chelsea. Look, if we were 2-0 up at home to Brentford, I'll probably be feeling different.
I'm
Chelsea,
not sure,
I would be,
what?
because Chelsea are a good side. I didn't trust it.
Sorry to interrupt, but ignoring the opposition, we are walking into traps. We are naive. We are not defending well. The Premier League is ruthless.
Yeah,
and
that's why.
And this is the point. I wouldn't be as confident. I'd be 100% confident that we would give Brentford, and no disrespect to Brentford, we would give every other of the 19 teams in the Premier League opportunities to get into the game.
Yeah, but
whether they take
that's the difference, and Chelsea will take.
I think most teams probably do. Give Mbeumo an opportunity. Delap from Ipswich, he's probably going to take an opportunity. These teams have all got good players, and potentially this is the Angeball argument. The fact that, like against St Mirren, and again, no disrespect to them, they're less likely to take and then Celtic go on and score the next goal and go 3-0 up rather than back to 2-1. I texted you and I looked this morning, 4:45, too early with a 2, and then 5-2 to Chelsea.
You were wrong.
And then a minute later, Sancho scores. It's 16:45, 16:46, Sancho scores. And it was just so easy.
It was too easy. I just want to get 2-1 was too easy. We showed him inside, good finish, really poor defending. Gary, I know you picked up on a few things about how we managed the game at 2-0, 2-1. At 2-0, I noticed, and at 2-1, Fraser Forster is rushing around trying to take goal kicks.
But that's again, they're doing this every game.
Gary, you picked up on something else that happened around about that period just before half time, when really we should be playing table football. 4-4, and saying to them,
bloody 2.
4-4, bloody 2, get through us.
Problem was, throughout the game, even at 0-0, at 1-0, 2-0, Chelsea, I think we're going to have a big discussion about the coaching of the two teams.
Yeah.
And it looked to me from the very beginning that Chelsea were very, very well set, and they're a good footballing team. And the comments that Maresca made pre-game really resonated with me, because he was asked about their approach in the game against Villa in Brighton. And he made the point of saying, Brighton press very high. They play with a very high line. Villa at this moment are playing with a deeper block. So we had to adapt. We had to adapt, were his words, and we had to play accordingly. But at no point did Chelsea sacrifice their style or their philosophy. They are still passing the ball. They're still trying to be a possession-based team. But the words resonated with me, because we're 2-0 up or 2-1 up, and you're thinking to yourself, you've been gifted 2 goals against a very good team. I hate to give them credit, but they're a bloody good team.
Yeah.
And that is the moment to not sacrifice your principles or style, but have a little bit more about yourself. And in the 38th minute, for the first time in the game, I saw 2 banks of 4, or 1 bank of 4 and 1 bank of 5, with Chelsea having the ball just inside their half. And for the first time, they slowed it down. because they had nowhere to go. They literally had nowhere to go. Every other moment in the game, they were able to pass through us because we were chasing around shadows and chasing like little dogs after a bone, right? Like there was no coordination to the press, and Chelsea were just picking us off. And the first time there was those 2 backs, and I took a breath. I went, "Oh, thank God, thank God!" And then out of nowhere, Sarr broke. He broke ranks and went and chased down the centre back, and they went, "Okay, then trigger, bish bash bosh," and they were in for another chance. And I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching. What am I watching? Was that stupidity from Sarr, or is that the instruction from Ange? But either way, you had a very disciplined shape, and Chelsea for the first time looked like they didn't know where to go. And then you broke ranks, and we were pulled all over the place.
Because going back a few minutes before that, and even before they score their first goal, and obviously the Romero substitution will come. We'll obviously come on to. We've spoken about the lineup, and Van de Ven and Romero neither finished the game, but there was a chance when Jackson was played through and Dragson made a brilliant recovery tackle, and it was a really good tackle. There's the Cole Palmer shot that he's drifted into space between the lines, hit that shot that forced the save down to his left. So, it's coming. And the first bit of adaptation we've made to the problems we had is what you're saying, and then they go over it. And again, I don't know if it's an Ange instruction or they just revert to type of chasing the ball, because I think we'd all agree here that this is one of the most naive Spurs teams that we've ever watched. They are making some of the most basic errors that we've seen. And there's always that laugh about Spurs having a soft underbelly. But even when we had the softest of underbellies, when we were in the 90s, whatever, there was still a bit of a rugged determination. There was still some game intelligence. And the game intelligence is null and void. And it also comes to the Caicedo potential sending off as well.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
But and then Carragher. So I couldn't go yesterday. I watched first half on TV. Carragher and the Sky commentator said, "Yeah, it's a red." They literally dismissed it like there was no chance this guy is staying on. They were literally almost laughing about it, like it's the easiest VAR decision to be made. But I watched earlier on a bit of the Arsenal-Fulham game, and they spoke about it was the same referee that had sent off Declan Rice earlier on in the season when he kicked the ball away. And they used the phrase, it was a controversial red card. Well, no, it wasn't. He kicked the ball away on a yellow card. The referee had every right to do it. But Arsenal have created this narrative that they have been hard done by, and therefore it was a controversial decision. We have not said a word about Caicedo. Goes and wins the penalty. Gary, I think jokingly said, "Oh, I'm waiting for the 89th minute Caicedo winner." Well, he got the penalty to get back to 2-2. Caicedo's a really important person in this whole game, because in terms of lineups, firstly, he started at right back, but was playing inverted. So they were creating an overload in centre midfield, which means Basuma, who I have plenty of question marks about, but Basuma is isolating. Our players are being overloaded all over the pitch, and we're not adapting to it. Hence, you've got Cole Palmer, therefore, able to pick up pockets of space. Cole Palmer's the best player in the Premier League, give or take, at the moment. So he's the last player you want space 30 yards from goal. But you go
according to side note, Ollie, on our comments here, Ange did mention Caicedo in the presser. But anyway,
but then there was another tackle in the Arsenal-Fulham game where you heard the Arsenal player go, "Oh!" And we've been hearing it for years, them screaming at every foul. We just got up. Sarr rolled around for maybe a second, then got up. Caicedo made more rolls on the penalty than Sarr did. And we're not around the referee. We're not hounding the referee. We're not hounding the fourth official. And that's a game management thing. Sarr should be rolling around waiting for the trainer to come on that tackle. Oh my God, you've left studs on the thing. This is all that micro management that other teams are doing way better than us. The referee's got to think, oh my God, I really have let something go.
Against Fulham, when Kearney got sent off, Leno went down and everyone was moaning. Well, Fulham do this all the time. It's like they call it like the Leno 3 minutes. Like he just goes down. They have 3 minutes where Marcus Silva talks to him.
Correct.
It's all part of the game management. Jake, you were at home watching it. It's a bit like what you said, Ollie. Against City, we went in 2-1 at half time, and you thought there's no way this is going to finish 2-1 at full time. And actually, that game did finish 2-1 at full time. What were you thinking at half time?
I felt like we weren't winning the game. It felt, as soon as it went 2-1, it felt like we were losing the game. And then when it went to 2-2, I said to my friend, what was it, 2-2 on 75 minutes-ish? Was it about them? 75 minutes.
They equalised.
I felt like
no, 61 was two.
But it was 2-2.
73 was 3-2.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't know about you lot, but I felt like we were a goal or two down at 2-2. The stadium felt very flat. It didn't feel like we were one moment away from winning a big derby game. It felt like, I know we had that sun chance, but it felt like no one in the whole stadium truly believed we could win that game at 2-2.
It's because we're so fragile.
That's what it felt like to me. And yeah, I couldn't see Chelsea not scoring again at 2-2. I just couldn't see it, which pains me to say it, but I just couldn't. It just felt like there's no way Chelsea were not scoring again.
I agree with you. I've had flu this week. I can't say that I caught it from Ollie because some of our viewers believe that that's not possible.
That was weird, wasn't it?
It doesn't work that way.
But I was sat next to Ollie and he had flu, and then I got it. So, but apparently that's not how I got it. So anyway, so I was watching at home, and my daughter came in at half time and said, "Can I watch the second half with you, Dad?" I said, "You need to be prepared.
Yeah.
This is going to be painful. This is going to be a long, painful 45 minutes because, like you, the pattern of the first half was such that we were 2-0 up with gifts. I don't think we were the better team. This is what pains me about the game, and I think this is going to be the bigger conversation about Ange. The red card was a disgusting decision, and normally I'd be spitting about it, and yes, it would have changed the game. But this was a game for me that was a disparity in coaching. It really was, and that was the problem. And the reason I said to my daughter at half time,
and depth of squad.
No, I think that's secondary. This was, the tactics, the coaching behind this was bad. And the reason I said to my daughter at half time, it's going to be painful, is because I knew we weren't going to change it. That's the hard thing for me to swallow. I knew we weren't going to change it. We were walking into every trap that they set for us, and they ripped us apart time and again. And if anybody can sit here and say that this game was managed, as a couple of our viewers are saying, I'm sorry, you're wrong. There was nothing managed about this game. It was chaos, and it wasn't organised chaos. It was absolute carnage, anarchy on the pitch, and Chelsea picked us off at will. And it wasn't going to change at half time. And that was why I said to my daughter, it's going to be a painful 45 minutes. So I completely agree with Jake. We were up, but it didn't feel like... And Merson said it. Merson said it at the beginning of the second half. They said to him, how do you think this game's going to go? He said, Spurs carry on the way they are. Chelsea will win this easy.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one thinking it.
We were thinking it. He was absolutely right. And that was the painful thing. You've got the opportunity at half-time to change it. You've got the opportunity to say to your right wingers, stop pressing the centre-backs. I understand the principle of pressing the centre-backs, but they're too good at this level. You're not going to funnel them out to the other side. You're not going to corral them into a small area and win it. They're just going to knock it around you, back out to their left back, and they're in against Porro every single time. And I was wondering to myself, is that Johnson just making stupid runs towards the centre-back? Because it happened against Fulham and it happened against Bournemouth as well. But then Werner came on and did the same thing. So you're like, it's an instruction. It's an instruction.
I was going to say to you, and it's part of the coaching element, are they doing the same press basically against every team? Whereas you can see teams might look at when they're pressing us, knowing that Romero's a good ball player, Van der Ven has an ability to play a ball out left, but if Dragon's on the left-hand side of the centre-back, right, that's my trigger. So I think teams are adapting their press to play us, but do you think we're adapting our press versus the opposition?
We looked at the stats before the Bournemouth game, and the stats will still be the same because it won't change that much. We press more than any team in the Premier League. But are we just pressing? Are we doing it in the right areas? And I think you're right. There were so many times where they would just move the ball around us, and they're in. As John McKenzie, friend of the show, I go back to a tweet from his on the 2nd of June, 2023. Against better sides, Postecoglou will soon find his high press will get bypassed with ease and would have to change things up pretty quickly. The Premier League is an unforgiving league from a tactical point of view. This will happen pretty quickly, in my opinion.
And it has. And I've used the word ruthless, and every team now has got that ability to do it.
Jake, what would you have changed though? What would you have? I mean, you said it didn't feel like we were winning, and it was inevitable what was coming. What would you have changed?
I don't know. I'm not a manager, but I think going back to what we were saying before, I can't remember who said this. I don't know if it was Ange or someone else. And I've said this all season, right? When we're a couple of goals up, we could beat anyone. We could tear anyone to pieces, right? And how many times I said this to you? tiny bit of adversity and we collapsed. And the ground felt that. At 2-0 up, I was for the first time in a few weeks, I was really excited. Did Dogie have a chance? He put just wide.
Yes.
And if it was offside, maybe.
It was offside.
And I was shouting at my telly, we need to go in for the kill now because 3-0 is massively different to 2-0, right?
Yeah.
One thing goes against us and we can't, it's happened against Leicester, it happened against Newcastle,
Brighton.
it happened against Arsenal, it happened against Brighton. Who did it happen against recently? It happened against Fulham. Bournemouth, not really, because we were losing from early, and it happened today. When we are winning in a game and we concede, we never go on and win a game.
Well, Jake, I was going to say there's the stat that we haven't won away from home when the opposition has scored since Palace last year in the sort of halcyon days of top of the league. But that was a Palace goal in the 89th minute. We were already 2-0 up. I was on this conversation on X, formerly known as Twitter. Someone said that we don't score ugly goals. And I said, it's not that we don't score ugly goals. We're not scoring enough important goals. And Kane was a scorer of first goal, equaliser, winners. Go back to the Bournemouth away game. Kane probably scores that chance after 5 minutes. And we all know goals change games. So it's not about ugly goals. Look, we know we don't score set pieces. We know we don't score from outside the box. We know we don't score we don't get penalties. So we've got this huge chunk of goals that we don't score. So we're trying to score this perfect goal of the low cutback and stuff. That is, if you said, what is the Ange goal? And that's what we're trying to score. We are not scoring enough important goals which are the high pressure goals against adversity.
You say that going 2-0 up against Chelsea is pretty important. It's how you deal with it after. Daniel Pincus has said here on our comments, we scored 2 goals from pressing. We're sort of criticising the pressing. It's great we scored 2 goals. I don't
think we scored 2 goals from pressing.
No. But even if we have, we know we're scoring goals from we're scoring goals. It's how you manage that afterwards.
Gary, in terms
of
a
95-minute game.
What you said, what would I have done? I'm not a manager. But I would have played that second half similar to the City League Cup game.
Correct. We talked about this.
I would have sat in. I'm not saying play a complete low block. I would have sat in with 2 banks of 4 and counter-attack and said to Chelsea, break us down, because I guarantee you, if we played like that and enjoyed defending, we would have got chances. And we did it. And you know what? He coached that second half is one of the best. That is one of the best coached halves under Ange.
But I've got a question now for you about this, because I was discussing this earlier with Johnny, and I 100% agree with you. And what I said to Johnny is what's annoyed me in the last couple of weeks with Ange is he's been asked, is that now the standard of performance that you put in against City?
The 4-0 or the 2-1?
The 4-0. Particularly the 4-0, away from home, okay? And even the 2-1 where they sat in.
That's what I meant more. I meant more the League Cup game. But both work the same.
Exactly.
They both work the same.
And my question, the question to Ange, because you're 100% correct, okay? My question that I said to Johnny earlier, Ange has been asked, is that now the standard? And Ange went, well, every game's different, mate, and and all of this, right? So, City are a different proposition. What I'm now confused about is, did Ange coach that? Because if he did, then why didn't he do the same at 2-0 against Chelsea? Or are City just so good that they forced us back and inadvertently played straight into a trap and forced us to defend and forced us to concentrate? I now don't know, because there is no excuse yesterday to be gifted 2 goals in the first 10 minutes against a really strong footballing side and even getting in at half-time, even if the players haven't got the wherewithal to start doing that, but get in at half-time and say, right, second half, banks of 4, let them play through it. Let them really try to find a way through us. We're going to be
And they were terrified of us on the counter-attack in the first half.
Yes. And that's the point, right? Why did we not do that? Why? That's my fury with this game. That's my anger with this, because we created a scenario which we couldn't have dreamt of against Chelsea, and we didn't adapt, and we have proven that we can play in that way against teams like City. So now I'm like, here I was giving Ange credit for City, but I'm now just wondering, our City just so good with the ball that they just pushed us back and we just had to sit in and wait for our moments.
Or Sidney Duke comes up with a point. We have Bentancur.
It's not just
It's not just Bentancur, but
Bentancur is intellectually on a far higher footballing intelligence level to Bissouma.
But to add on John McKenzie, who I just mentioned before, he then said yesterday after the game, if you put players into tactical systems that don't support them, they'll then start making poor decisions. Tactics have everything to do with players at your disposal. This was based on the stupid tackle from Bissouma and the stupid tackle from Sarr. They're just two stupid tackles. But I just think they're being asked to do things that they're not, maybe can't do, they're not comfortable with. Yes, Bentancur came in. Yeah, City, I love Bentancur. You know that. Does this go back to the leadership problem?
One of my frustrations is, and you probably would have seen it, Gary, watching Sky after the game. I don't know if you kept.
I turned it off, mate.
But the analysis was spot on from all of them. And I'm not fans of Merson and Redknapp, Carragher, but they absolutely nailed it.
Jamie Carragher is a friend of the show and might be coming on again next week. So
Carragher's analysis on the whole club was absolutely bang on.
And he'll bring in the A-team.
But what frustrated me is, right, we come out and we say the same things every time this happens, right? We're naive, we don't manage the game. How many times does that have to happen until he changes it? I actually said to my friend, imagine if we lived in a world where Ange Postecoglou could not get sacked. It wasn't a possibility, right? We would be sat here in 3 years. He would still be doing the same thing. The team will still be playing in the same way. It's like, it's almost beyond insanity. You cannot believe how many times in 1 year, let's say, that we will talk about game management and taking the sting out of the game and slowing things down. That is the thing that I cannot, you know, we spoke about it after Brighton and we spoke about it last season. I can't get my head around that. After 15 minutes, it's like, we need to go and score 5 here. We're not happy with 2-0. We can't take a little bit of sting out of the game. And that is nothing to do with tactics. That's just common sense.
But Jake,
it's just a bit of, you know, I'm not talking about tactical now. So that's just a bit of, what's the word?
Sensibility?
It's gone out of my head.
It's just a bit of player management. It's not tactics. It's players having the wherewithal to understand what's needed. Slow it down. You mentioned Forster rushing to take goal kicks at 2-0 and things like that. There is no game management. Mark Clifford saying that panic breeds mistakes. I don't think it's panic that breeds mistakes. I think it is the constant playing at 100 miles per hour without any time to think. And I think that's the point. These players aren't being given an opportunity to think and take a step back and slow the game down and understand what's needed. And it's not tactics. It's just game management that you would expect of professional footballers with the level of experience that these guys have.
But I don't mind that start. Love it. The start was brilliant. Get to 2-0, that's fine. Jamie Carragher said it. I love the start. I love the style. Get to 2-0, take a breather, sit off them for 10 minutes, counter-attack, and go again. You cannot play like that
it's unsustainable.
for the whole game.
Unsustainable.
It's no coincidence that we collapse time and time again.
But this is all completely exaggerated by the thinness of the squad. So in your hypothetical scenario where Ange is still here in 3 years' time, well, maybe in one hypothetical scenario, he's actually got a squad capable of playing this football. Because actually, I would say that some of the more structured football that we played this season has been when he's had a slightly fuller squad. And, you know, Bissouma and Bentancur will be able to rotate on 60 minutes. Yep. He hasn't been able to do that with the fullbacks. And I've said here enough time that I think we should have 4 first-choice fullbacks who, and you know, on 65 minutes, both could come off. And you've got 2 ready replacements to start bombing again. Maybe that happens. But, and I'm not going to go into it, but is he going to get that sort of investment in where you're going to have 18 to 20 players that can just be at that level where they all come into squad? Because at the moment, playing 100 miles an hour with the injuries, which again we've discussed enough times, are the injuries because of the 100 miles an hour matches and training, but we can't do it. So we know fully well that we can be 2-0 up in a game, but we know there is nothing on the bench to be able to come on to change things. And therefore, you have to adapt the way you play to say, right, we are going to have to sit back on the edge of the box and counter because it is a results business as well.
I agree that if we were here in 3 years' time, perhaps we would have the squad depth to be able to play this way for 90 minutes for 38 league games a season and 20-odd cup games. The reality is that's still probably not going to happen. The reality is there's still naivety in the way that we're playing. You know, you're 2-0 up, and it is nothing to do with the legs that we have on the pitch that Sarr broke when we were in a good defensive shape and formation. That is pure instruction. There is nothing to do with the legs. That, as DNS says here, Forster's an experienced 37-year-old goalkeeper. If he was at any other club, he doesn't. He keeps hold of the ball. He's been told to release it as early as possible.
Oh, that's 100%.
It's instruction, okay? And I get, you know, there still has to be, in 3 years' time, even if we had that squad depth, there still has to be the game management, and the players still have to have the freedom. You know, Ange says he wants to give the players freedom to make mistakes and express themselves. They also need to have the freedom to understand what the game needs in a given moment and show leadership on the pitch, okay? And slow it down and take the sting out of the game. Take a kick and go down for 3 or 4 minutes, right? Yeah. All of this sort of stuff. And it feels like they haven't been given that. There is that league table at the minute of the team that gets the ball back into play quickest. And it's us.
By a mile.
By a mile. And Ange often talks about, you know, our performances this season have been good. We've beaten this team 3-0, this team 4-0. There is a consistent theme to our wins. We have won by 3 or 4 goals.
Every league win has been by 2 or more, and every league defeat has been by -1. Everyone's going, we got a great goal difference. Well, that's because we're smashing teams when the wins behind us.
But it's more than that. If it goes to the exact point that Jake's making, and that Jake was saying about yesterday, 2-0 is all well and good, but we're all saying next goal is huge.
Yeah.
Next goal is huge. How can that be right? How can it be right that you're 2-0 up and you're saying that if Chelsea were 2-0 up, they wouldn't be saying next goal is huge?
If we went to Stamford Bridge and were 2-0 down, that's game over.
Yeah.
It's game over.
Also, there's other elements as well, like pissing Chelsea off is part of the game management. You know, you could be sitting there at 2-0 and dropping down, getting all
that's
the,
where, that's where I just
all of that mini stuff to get them the ones who are going in the book, them the ones doing the stupid tackles, them the one losing their game, and we're not making it difficult. We are the easiest team in the Premier League to play against. We're the easiest team to ref against.
Carragher said on commentary, Badia Shield was rattled by Solanke, and Cucurella was like all over the place. How did we let them possibly get back into the game from that position?
Was dominating Badia Shield. He was so strong. He was bringing the ball down. Like we talked about Forster, still playing it out. Go long. Get off Solanke. Get Solanke to win free kicks off Badia Shield.
Do you know what, though? As much as we've hammered Ange, and he deserves to be hammered, right? You could have any manager in the world, right, letting Sancho in on his right foot, Brennan Johnson and Porro, Bissouma, as me and Gary discussed yesterday, giving the ball away to Neto, running 50 yards and desperately trying to make up for it for the penalty. The third goal, Pedro Porro bottled it. Simple as that. Absolutely bottled it.
And the fourth goal, Sidney Duke says, we don't foul enough. I counted in the build-up to... No, I think it was the third goal when...
Fourth from a corner.
The fourth... Yeah, our corner, they go and get penalty. The third goal, I counted 1 challenge, 2 challenges, 3 challenges.
Porro bottled it.
It started on the halfway line. Right? And I can't remember exactly the sequence, but it started on the halfway. There were 7 challenges that we could have made outside the box that were missed, which resulted then in Palmer dancing around 3 players and getting it over to Enzo. It took a deflection. But there were 7 challenges that could have been made. And the only time we made desperate challenges are in the box. Outside the box, as Sidney Duke says, don't want to make a challenge.
By the way, I saw an amazing still on their Enzo's third goal, isn't it? Yeah, yep. On their Enzo's third goal. So you got 3 players around Palmer on their right hand side.
Like the Maradona picture against Belgium.
It's similar to that. And then you've got Porro is marking Nicholas Jackson. You've got Enzo at this point on the edge of the box, and I imagine it's Sancho on the left, both completely free. Yep. And it's like, there you are. That's Angeball defending. Our defence have been completely ball watching and pulled to the right, and you had 2 men standing there.
All right,
and we are a stupid football team.
Do you know what? Just quickly, I wanted to say this, and I just wanted to make sure it was him. You probably didn't see it because you were at the game, but the last minute of Arsenal Fulham, right, really quite deep into stoppage time, Sander Berge broke forward, Declan Rice pulled him back, grabbed his shirt. You are not getting away from me, and then they basically blew the whistle. Fulham were on the attack.
Did he get booked?
Yeah, he got booked. And I think he's now suspended, Rice. But he pulled his shirt, and I've never seen a Tottenham player do that.
No.
It happened against Ipswich. We mentioned it, didn't we? Ipswich's second goal. I don't know if it was Bentancur.
Yeah.
Just bring him down.
Yep.
You just take a booking.
And Bentancur ends up getting booked for dissent in that incident instead of pulling him back.
Him down.
Yeah.
But if you go back to these great days under Pochettino, we were top of the league for notional professional fouls.
It's nuts.
We were really good at it. And then obviously since then Guardiola's taken over. But we are, and I will say it again, I think we're the most stupid football team.
But as we were saying,
if you think about stupidity, playing on the ball, scoring goals is the hardest thing to do, and that requires skill and skill and coaching. Whereas defending is actually about intelligence, and that's why we're so bad off the ball, because we are stupid and we run around like kids.
I disagree. I think we're bad off the ball because we're running around like kids, but that's instruction. And this comes to the wider point about where we are with Ange, because I for one want to back him. I love what he stands for. I've sat here on this pod consistently saying I want to back him. And people have been saying, but he needs to change. And I've said, I think this season we've seen signs of change. But then you see, Maresca come in, who should be behind Ange in terms of where his team is. He's 5 months into a job, Ange is 18 months into a job. Okay, Maresca has been blessed with a very talented squad.
And a few quid.
He's been blessed with a very talented squad. But for me, the chasm in quality yesterday was in coaching. And that was the first time that I can really say, I just thought, I want to back Ange. I really want to back Ange. But Maresca basically schooled him. Absolutely schooled him yesterday.
So can I also say, because it's a lovely bookend, and I think I put it on the group last night, the Chelsea team that when we played them November the 5th, 2023,
I don't remember.
We
never mentioned that.
No, that game's got no real. But we were sitting on, I think, 26 points. Chelsea were on about 12.
Yeah.
Or they might have won and got to 15. But their team then, they had 5 or 6 that had been moved on and improved into yesterday's team. But however, let's look at the points tally between then and now. They've taken 79 points. We've taken 60 points because they obviously finished a point behind us last season. They were getting their
3 points.
Pardon?
3 points.
Oh, sorry, but they'd obviously
a couple of wins, a couple of games more, and they'd probably finish above.
But Pochettino, second half of the season, they'd actually got something a bit more going. So you would sit there, if you're an alien, you never had sort of come down from earth, you'd sit there and say, right, Tottenham Hotspur are a team that are flatlining and Chelsea are increasing. So which 11 needs surgery in order to improve itself at the constant rate that the Premier League improves? Well, Chelsea yesterday had Batshuayi went into the team. Colwell came to centre half. He was playing left back that night. Obviously, Cucurella, but he'd already been there. Then Casado plays right back. Lavia was a change.
I think this argument.
But then you've got Sancho playing. You've got who's their other winger? Neto. And so there's 4 new signs. We only had Solanke on a team that was only faltering, and that's the point.
You disagree?
And you've got it well coached as well.
But we're talking about a team that had Mudryk, Sterling, Jackson, Palmer, Madueke, and went Jadon Sancho, we'll have a bit of that. 60 million on Neto, we'll have a bit of that. I mean, come on.
It's not comparable,
Seriously.
really.
I understand what you're saying. Like this is a team that finished 12th last season or the season before last, and then went 150 million Caicedo, 50 million Lavia. Who, by the way, looks better than Caicedo.
Yeah, he's class.
By the way, can I just say that Tottenham Hotspur Football Club generate considerably more money now than Chelsea because they're not so why are we conditioned to think that we can't afford players of that quality?
Oh yeah, and also João Felix as well.
Their bench is ridiculous.
But then you've got the other element as well of saying, oh well, we've got this first, we can't possibly improve on that. So what's the point of building any further? Well, there seems to be plenty of players at Chelsea who have not complained about being in a squad.
Yeah, big 8-year contracts.
Chelsea being good is like bragging about losing your virginity to a prostitute.
Elaborate.
Because they've spent a load of money. If they go and win the league, so be it. You spent 1.2 billion. Why should you be praised for it?
Fair enough. Okay.
That's one of the best comments we've got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want to pick up on Daniel Pinkers, right? I'm not saying that we compare the Chelsea squad to Tottenham's, right? He's saying that's very unfair. I'm not comparing the Chelsea squad.
Clip it up.
I'm not comparing Chelsea's.
Is that advice to the guy losing his virginity?
I think Chelsea's starting lineup yesterday. Well, as I look at the two teams, I didn't see such a huge disparity between the starting lineups. The squads, yes. The squad depth, yes, of course. Okay, but on the pitch yesterday, as they lined up 11 against 11, maybe Chelsea edge it, maybe, but that wasn't the game I saw. That was not the game I saw. The disparity on the pitch was a chasm.
Coaching.
It was a chasm.
I'm not going to let Ollie respond to Daniel Pincus's "It's all about wages" because you're probably right, but you're going to go on another Levy rant, and I haven't got time for it.
Norman liked the comment.
But what I would say, yes, it is down to wages, but I would say that I think at the moment the club is at a low ebb of intellectual capacity on where this club should be, and I don't believe that. And Ange is part of this. There is not enough high, top level Premier League / top 5 league in Europe experience off the pitch and on the pitch.
Well, let's go and get Dan Ashworth then. That's not going to happen. Right, we lost 4-3, and by the way, as soon as Palmer went down and Anthony Taylor, who I know I have to be careful on referees, but I thought
Get on stage.
had a terrible game. I walked out before he even scored the penalty. And walked down the high road, 10 minutes to the car. I'm in the car, and my dad says to me, we knew it was 4-2. He said, I assume Palmer took the penalty. I was like, yeah, I'm sure he did. Why wouldn't he? I went into my Flash Score app to just check that Palmer took the penalty. I was like, oh, it was 4-3. I had absolutely no idea.
We had a chance at 4-3.
Did we?
Not really.
Well, it wasn't really. I don't know. Werner swung a ball to the back stick and sort of sun and drag us in.
They went for it.
Desperately.
That substitution was bad, by the way, as were the substitutions against Bournemouth, as were the substitutions against Fulham.
Right.
Like,
and
you've got Johnson coming off, right? And you're bringing on Werner on the right wing. Like, move Kulusevski out to the right and put Maddison on. And and I was thinking to myself, if the substitution is to do with fitness issues for Maddison, then I can understand it. But Maddison came on 5 minutes later anyway. So what the hell was that substitution about? And against Bournemouth, actually, we were in the game, and then he sacrificed complete control of it.
He brought the whole midfielder.
We had no midfielder.
He brought the whole midfielder.
He completely sacrificed control. We could have got back in that game. And then he took off Sarr. We lost complete control, and they just started to walk through us. And against Fulham, the man gets sent off. And instead of keeping at that point Maddison on the pitch,
I don't understand the Maddison stuff.
He takes him off and almost sort of sacrifices the ability to win 3 points. And I can't understand. Again, I get that viewers are going to sit there and say, oh, you've switched, you've turned, one defeat and you turned against Ange. No, I'm looking at things like on a whole, and the substitutions in the last 3 games have been poor. They haven't made sense to me. The setup against Chelsea was a disgrace, in my view, particularly at 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Right? Particularly at 2-0.
1 win in 7. No wins since City, which is looking like a bit of an outlier. Go on, Jake.
Can I just say on Maddison, I know I'm a massive fan of Maddison. I know you like him, Gary, Johnny. I know you're not as keen. I know he's not their cup of tea. But I think that if you're not winning football matches and James Maddison is not in the team, something is desperately wrong.
Yep.
It's desperately wrong.
That's a good point.
And I cannot for the life of me understand why that there could not be a game that we ever play again where we're not winning and James Maddison should be taken off. Ever.
Yep.
It's also,
ever. He has done it 2 games running. He did it against Bournemouth when he was probably the best of the front 4, and he did it against Fulham. Okay, he wasn't great, but you keep him on the pitch purely for that magic in his boots.
Yeah.
He could put one in the top corner. He could pick out a pass, and the fact that he brought on Werner on the right, not even on the left.
Correct.
I couldn't. I can't.
Terrible.
And again, look, he came on. Okay, I know the game was done. Bit of magic and set up a goal. I know the game was done by then. But no, we've got no one else that can do that.
Can I just say as well? I can't. I think substitutions. If you bring on like for like, you're saying as I was. Yeah, what's the point? Because if you're unless it's an injury, obviously, but you go back to one of the most famous like for like substitutions in Spurs history, which is Nuno taking off Moura and then bringing on Bergwijn, and you're like, and everyone just sat there, it's like, well, what's that going to change? So Johnson for Werner, arguably, what's that going to change? Yes, he might be a little bit more sharp and he might be able to run a little bit quicker because he's fresh, but it's not going to change anything because the pattern of the game had changed. You've got to give the opposition manager something to think about. Oh, he's put Kulusevski to the right, which means, and then I've got Maddison there. So actually, Madison's going to pick up that pocket of space, so I need to tell that player to go in to try and fill in there, and actually things change.
Yeah, they didn't have to change anything.
They didn't have to change anything,
Right.
and it's that's like the most basic of things.
1 win in 7, not one since City. Inconsistency is becoming a little bit more consistent because we're not actually winning many football matches. We've done a poll on our YouTube channel here. And is it time to go? Basically, 3 options. Give the man time, mate. Got to go. Relax. We always win a trophy in year 2. 58% have said give the man time. 34% have said he's got to go. I want to just bring it round to that now. I said to you on the phone earlier, Gary, I think, I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy. I don't think he's right for us. I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's too stubborn. Not many people out there that I would want. Don't want Frank. I don't want Ten Hag. I don't really want Potter. I don't know what options there are. So it's not really Ange out. It's Ange sort it out. I just want to go around the room. Give me your thoughts on, do you want him out? Do you Ange sort it out? Do we go to the end of the season? Because Arteta apparently finished second in his second season, so it means we're going to. I love that analogy. Where are you, Gaz?
I want to give him time because, like I say, I do like...
Can I actually stop 1 sec? Sorry. And on the back of that, if we get to the league, people talking about we're still in the League Cup, that's 10 days away now. If we go out the League Cup, is that done?
Yeah, look, I think we are in a crucial week. You know, if we don't get a result against Rangers, then actually we've turned automatic qualification in the top 8 into a
bit of a dogfight.
Exactly. So we've got to go up the Rangers. We've got to beat them. Got to be beating Southampton away. Have got to beat Southampton. Have got to beat Southampton away. And you've got to beat United in the quarterfinal. United are a mess. Yeah. They are a mess.
They're making us look well run.
Like, I mean, on the pitch they make us look better, and off the pitch they make us look well run, as you say. 3 huge games, 3 very, very winnable games. And I'm going to sit here right now and say I want to give him time, and I do want to give him time, but I do want to see things changing. For all of that said, if we don't get 3 out of 3 this coming week, I think it starts to become really difficult, genuinely difficult. And you might say, you don't want Frank, you don't want this, you don't know who's out there. It's not for us to sit here and know who's out there. I didn't know a huge amount about Maresca. I knew he was at Leicester, they were playing good football. But the people within the game are looking at Maresca saying he's a good manager. The people in the game are looking at Iraola saying he's a good manager. The Brighton people are looking at, what's his name, down there now, at Brighton.
German guy, yeah.
And saying he's a good manager.
Hertzler.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I don't know about Iraola. I don't know about Maresca. I don't know about these managers. That's not my job.
No, but as Jay Ashworth says, Poch gives Iraola gives me Poch vibes.
But you know, the point is not to sit here and say I don't know who I'd want in. So why would we get rid? There's always coaches out there.
Yeah.
There are always coaches out there, and it is the job of the club to know and do their analysis correctly to understand who could come in. And this isn't me advocating for Ange out, but if the next week doesn't go right, it does start to become a bit untenable. And if we carry on making the same basic mistakes, carry on conceding goals at the far post, carry on letting teams walk through us, bad substitutions, you know, all of these sorts of things, it becomes untenable.
Gary, can I ask you a question, Gary? But it's absolutely related to what you're just saying about the club. That decision, obviously, the recommendation go to Daniel Levy, but it will fundamentally, the search will be run by Scott Munn and Johan Langer. I've spoken privately about my views, and I know we know very little about them, but we know what we do know. Scott Munn this is his first job in Europe, having been at City Football Group and Australia, in China and Australia, and Langer has been a Villa, but again, very little experience. Do you believe those two are able to actually deliver better than what we've got?
A couple of people in the comments are questioning that too.
The answer is I don't know. You know, I have to trust it. People sort of say, oh, well, you know, Villa have improved since Langer left, whilst ignoring that Langer was the guy that brought in Martinez and what's his face up front, who are basically, who's the guy that got up front? Watkins. You know, so I think it's like anything. I think you've got to give these guys a chance. I don't know how involved either of them were with the appointment of Ange, but if Ange is to go, then you give them the chance of selecting a new manager. But there's so much data out there. This is something that Radcliffe's been talking about how far behind United are in data. We are supposed to be one of the clubs that is more advanced with data. So when it comes to a manager selection, if Ange does go, I would like to think that they're using their metrics, they're using the data, but also doing their background checks into how does this guy actually manage on an emotional and people level. And you've got to trust him. But right now, I'd back Ange to stay for the time being.
FBL's Juice in the comments come out of Launchpad Studios. Nick says you can't appoint the oldest manager in the league and expect him to change his spots, which goes back actually to a comment above. Someone has asked me personally, so I'm going to respond. TZ something has asked me, Johnny, your critique of Ange needing to keep flopping his philosophy. Well, it's not just my critique. I think we're all saying that Ange needs to change his philosophy. Would I prefer a no-identity star manager like Ten Hag? No, Ten Hag's not the only option. He's an option because he's out of work. I don't want Ten Hag.
No.
As you just said, Gary, if Ange is to go, do your due diligence and find out a manager that might work with this squad.
And just on Pilch 58, why would an ambitious young coach risk his future under Levy? That's a ridiculous comment, because an ambitious young coach should look at Tottenham and appreciate that actually we should be streaks ahead of Bournemouth, Brighton, all of that, and we're one of the only clubs that can really compete with the top four. And you come to Tottenham and win a trophy now, then you've established your name as a young coach.
Or come to get Tottenham, not get backed and get sacked in 18 months' time.
Yeah, that's an achievement.
But I'm sorry, this idea of not getting backed is ludicrous, okay? We are buying players. We're one of the top spenders in the league. I know you've got an issue about wages, but you cannot deny, we've got, I think, in that team, 8 players that cost over £40 million. 8 players that cost...
Where'd you get that stat from?
You. Tell us it. Go on,
no, it's right. It's right. We said it yesterday. The problem is, it's not. We spent the money.
People are saying that we are not backing, but you demonstrated that we are.
But that's not. This last summer, a lot of these weren't under Ange. Some of them were, but like a lot of them weren't.
But you've got a team of players, 8 of which cost 40 million.
Yeah,
plus.
I know.
You can't say this is.
We've got one of the most expensive squads in Europe.
Right.
Jake, I want to ask you the same question I asked Gary. Ange in, Ange out, and sort it out.
Do you know what? This is the first time, as much as I've absolutely hammered Ange, I still like him. And I don't think anything will turn, even the Ipswich result, which was really sort of killed his whole tenure for me. That was the real low moment. But for when it was Conte and Mourinho, I was happy to talk about other managers. But it's always a bit uncomfortable when you've got a manager that you like, talking about who could replace him, right? But what I will say is, and I've said, obviously Gary said it, and loads of fans have said, give him time. That we're past that stage, you can't
start winning, isn't he?
He has to start winning. You can't just say give him time. Something has to change. You have to start winning games, and I think we've got to the stage with these 3 games, right? I don't care about tactics. I don't care about game. He has to win 3 games,
correct.
And if he doesn't, he's sacked. As simple as that.
Do you think 3?
He has to win all 3. Or maybe not all 3. He has to beat Southampton and Man United. Yeah. Rangers is not irrelevant, because if we lose, we could still win the last 2. But I think he has to win them 2 games. Because you either don't beat the bottom team in the Premier League, or you go out the cup.
Yep.
And if he doesn't win them 2, I don't know, would they sack? Again, I said this to my friend yesterday. If we don't beat Southampton, would you sack before a big cup final?
We've done that before.
But would we?
We've done it before.
Would we sack 3 days before Man United?
Well, we sacked before a League Cup final.
No, I know, but I'm saying, would he do it again? I don't know. But I think, yeah.
I think he gets United even if he loses to Rangers and Southampton.
I think he's got to win both them.
Ryan Mason in charge against Liverpool. Ollie, Spiro.
Keep it short.
Without mentioning Daniel Levy.
No, but okay, so first one's on a couple of things Jake said. I think if he Rangers is going to be a high amplified game.
If anybody wants to get Ange sacked, it's Rangers.
Correct. That is going to be on every newspaper. And as we know, Mr. Levy does not like negative PR. I think it's a must not lose game.
Yeah.
I think I'd take a draw now, given where we are. We can't lose. But yeah, if we draw that and then you go into thinking we beat, is it Hoffenheim and then Elfsborg to get into top? Yeah, that I think it's a must not lose game.
Yeah.
They're not a good team, and no disrespect, but they're a team that we are better than.
It's a difficult place to go,
but it's going to be a cauldron on Thursday night.
You're going, aren't you guys?
Yeah,
there is going to be a lot of alcohol drunk in that city.
Sydney Duke just said that they got Celtic on Sunday, which could help in a cup final.
Okay, fine, but
it'll still be a cauldron. But I reckon
it's going to be a cauldron. But and I agree with you. He's got to beat Southampton, and then United's slightly different. But I think if he loses to Rangers, I think he's already pretty close to being untenable. I think it's not far off. And your comment earlier on that if you're having to win your next match to avoid a sack, you're already gone. What we are, let's be honest here, we are in a Groundhog Day in terms of we know now that yesterday suddenly the anti-Levy chants started in the stadium, and that does change the thought process of the owners of the club. They don't like it when the heat turns up against them. Yeah. They will, I'm sure. So they've got a position now where we're 3 weeks away from the January transfer window, and they will probably find some money behind the back of the sofa, potentially for a new manager, because let's be honest here, no one else is spending money in January. We've got this enormous PSR cushion and we've got plenty of cash. Let's be honest here. We're going to need a January similar to the Bentancur, Kulusevski. We can buy young players. Remember, Bentancur and Kulusevski were 21, 22, but had played X 100 games for Juventus and won Scudettos. That is a world of difference by Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. So we need some players into the first team in January. And probably one of the only carrots we can dangle, aside from the wonderful training ground, the great stadium, is the fact that we might be able to spend 50, 60, 70 million pounds in January. We might need to get on the phone to our former director of football, Mr. Prachi, and say, hey, we need a couple of good players that you can get a fee on. That's where we are. I really want Ange to succeed as well. I love the Aussie mentality of sport. We're real winners, punching above their weight, and I love his mentality. But everything we have spoken about today, he's not changing his spots. And we are, it's a ruthless league. We're more likely to be in a mid-teen finishing position than we are at the moment to be finishing sixth. And we're organised.
Well, the Athletic, Ollie, on that, someone just sent me this. A friend, Ben, sent me this where it wasn't him. It was Jersey Spur on Twitter who sent me this to say we're heading for 18 league defeats. Yeah. In terms of based on how it is. The last time Spurs lost more than that was 03-04, 21 years ago, when David Pleat was caretaker and Tottenham.
I do not like the sound of that season.
Well, I think this is this is the worst under ENIC. I think this is. No. This reminds me.
Not early 2000s.
Absolutely not.
Early 2000s.
No, but pound for pound. Pound for pound. Honestly, I think this is one of the worst.
Yeah, pound for pound. I don't disagree.
We are losing football matches.
Yeah, that's
and losing football matches is going to be more of a run than winning football match at the moment.
Right. So
the question is that I think Ange's being sent out to a knife fight with a spoon, but equally he's got to learn how to fight with his spoon to actually fight a little bit differently to get a result.
Ollie.
I think
Ollie.
Last summer was a disgrace.
Did he go into Palace with a spoon against a knife? Did he go into Ipswich with a spoon against a knife? Did he go into Bournemouth with a spoon? Of course he didn't. Lack of confidence. No, Ollie, I'm sorry.
And all the things that are happening in our squad is to do with the fact that you're adding in Europa League football, and we did not add in enough footballers ready to go. Yes, you've got the Spence mistake in the squad, but the point is we have not got a squad capable of taking this on, and therefore he is at a disadvantage. So actually the Europa League becomes a leveller when we're playing these crappy teams.
I didn't imagine
so look at the results post Europa League. We do not have this. We did not have enough to the squad to be able to play.
I didn't imagine we'd be sat here with you making a case for Ange and me saying no, but I'm sorry, I want Ange, and I really do, and I'm desperate for him to succeed because, like Jay, I feel bad sitting here talking about a good guy, a very good guy. I like the guy. I love his principles and his philosophy. I can't stress enough. But you cannot say he's at a disadvantage against Ipswich, Bournemouth, Palace. You can't, Leicester away in the first game of the season. You can't say he's at a disadvantage.
I don't get wrong.
It's not good enough. It is not good enough at the moment.
Badly. I have no doubt
he's playing his hand terribly. And I think, imagine that Maresca was our manager right now. I suspect we would be much higher in the league and looking much more solid in all departments. I just think we would be. They were superior yesterday, not because they had better players in every department. That's a different debate. I'm not sure that's necessarily true. They were superior because they were really well coached and managed. Bournemouth, they realised what they had to do against us. They sat in until such time as they could take control of the game. And Fulham, You know, I wouldn't want him, Mark, what's his name?
Marco Silva.
I wouldn't want
Good
him
coach,
as our
but I
manager.
think that's
he's at the right club.
But they were
yeah.
disciplined. They were set in, similar against what they did against Arsenal
yesterday. Yeah,
These
they were really
coaches are getting the most out of what they have, and Ange is so far off that at the moment.
Do we need to
completely
answer
agree with
Mark
you,
Clifford?
Gary. I agree with you.
Are we too good to go down?
Well,
I'm not going there. We're not going down.
What I think we should discuss is moving forward now, right? He beats United in the Cup, he beats Southampton, lose to Liverpool, lose at Forest on Boxing Day. Where are we sort of going with this? Is he going to get back up again and then get back down? Because if that's the case, we might as well sack him.
Here's where I'm at on that question. Do you know what? You look at the run of games, City, Fulham, Bournemouth, Chelsea, and I would sit here and say, do you know, it's probably 4 points.
It's the wrong way around.
Right, which is what we've got, okay? But in answer to your question, let me say this, I don't mind losing to Chelsea. They're a better team than us at the moment, okay? Obviously, I mind losing to Chelsea. Don't people jump on me. I hate losing to Chelsea, right? But they are a better team than us. They're a better team than us at the moment. What I do mind is not be... So in the next run of games, do I think we should beat Rangers? Yes, we should beat Rangers. Yeah. Does that make me arrogant? Maybe, but we're better than them. No. Are we better than Southampton? Yes, we are. Are we better than United? Yes, we are. Are those games we should be winning? Yes. Should we be beating Liverpool? No. So win the games. Should we be beating Forest? They've just beaten United away. But yes, I believe that we should be beating Forest. So win the games that we should be winning. Let's start there. Start there, right? We still accuse Arsenal of being flat track bullies and losing to the big teams, but fine. That was them getting their principles correct.
Ollie said it either on here or to me, and I said it. I had a chat at half time with some people yesterday when we all assumed we were going to lose the game. Beating City's great, but actually your bread and butter is beating your Fulham, your Ipswich, your Bournemouth, and the rest is bonus points. You probably pick up 65 to 70 points by
beating the crap,
beating the cannon fodder. And like, wow, we've beaten this one and that one. You might win 2 of those games in a season, and you go, great. It's bumped us up to 73, 76. It's bread and butter. And as you say, Jake, what happens if you beat Southampton? Well, I'm going to sit there and go, well, you should have done that. You should have done that.
But credit, fine, right. But if we go through the rest of the season, winning the games that we should win, and maybe getting beat against the teams that we would expect to get beat to, then to me, that is at least progression. If we can rely on consistently beating Wolves, Forest, Palace, Southampton, Bournemouth, go into most of these games going, we know we're going to win.
So much has to depend on the January transfer window. We desperately need players.
2 comments I want to pick up on. Dean S. Enoch are the reason our ceiling is 5th to 6th, probably right, and just the reason we're 11th. Okay, fine. We know there's a load of problems. Stratton Kohlberg, Jesus, this is negative shit. I really hope you all get your wish.
We've all basically said we don't want the manager to be...
Our wish is for Spurs to be good.
Our wish is for Spurs to win football matches.
And to be double hard bastards and also play the dark arts. Because let's be honest, if you think that Spurs' history is purely about playing London football, no, the double winning team had Dave Mackay.
Yeah.
Graham Roberts. When we had Mickey Hasden here, we asked him in one of the interviews to our members, they can watch. I asked him, saying, if you could take anyone from that 81-84 team into the present day team, who would you say? And I had in my mind who he was going to say, because I kind of always wanted to feed in. And he said, yes, I could have Hoddle. Yes, I could have ideas, but this team needs Graham Roberts. We want to see a team that is not stupid, not making stupid mistakes, not soft.
But
yes,
Ollie,
your
the
right
bigger
to play
point is
football.
It's negative because we've lost again. Would you want us to come on here and be delighted?
Well, that's the question I want to ask Stratton Colbert, whatever his name is, right? Yeah, it is negative. Nobody's wishing for Ange. Actually, we all wish that he turns it around and makes it succeed, if you've been listening properly. But the question to you then is, what do you take as a positive? I'll give you some positives. Fraser Forster, as you said,
absolutely
has been fantastic since he's come in. He's been fantastic. That's a positive. Dom Solanke was brilliant yesterday.
Yep.
Van de Ven was back.
And we've now down 3 centre-backs.
No,
Van de Ven will be okay.
Tightness.
So there are positives.
We're playing against
6 months.
Positives are we are top scorers in the league, right? You want positives? There you go. Okay, but the question to you, Stratton Carberg, you can't just sit there and go, Jesus, this is negative shit. Tell me what's positive. What do you see as positive about us being 11th, losing to Palace, Ipswich, Fulham, Bournemouth? What do you see as positive right now? Come back and let me know.
Yeah, as Spurs Kings TV, promoting other pods on here, I'll do it because I'm a nice guy, good pod, good Spurs pod, and he's right. How can anyone see this performance and gather positives? We're going around a little bit in circles. Let's just quickly talk about the week ahead.
Not a big week.
Like you said, Rangers will be chomping at the bit.
God, just what you want a trip to
beat us. Gary, actually, I want to talk about what you're doing. You're going up.
Going up by train on Thursday, flying back Friday morning. There's one of them, when the draw is made, I don't have the opportunity with young family and work and so on. It's very difficult to get to away games like I used to. But I saw that and I'm like, what an opportunity to go to Ibrox. Like, under any circumstance in a competitive game, what an iconic stadium, an iconic club.
Yeah.
And whatever the circumstances, I'm desperate to go up there and have that experience. So I'm really looking forward to it. I expect us to win. I expect that Bentancur and Bissouma will both play because neither of them can play against Southampton.
Just quickly on that, is it full allocation 3,000 for this? Because I know Rangers
Spurs will take a whatever it is.
No. I know we take it, but in Scotland, I know especially in the old Firm games, they cut it. And
there's none in the old Firm.
Yeah, well, there's none now. But is it? Have they given?
It's 5%.
It is just 3,000.
So that will be 2.5.
Honestly, you think Galatasaray was bad? Like in terms of, I know it might be a bit more not. That is going to be red hot.
Yeah.
So they have not played. They have not played a British team for years.
Yeah.
Years. Rangers. They actually played Liverpool last year. Sorry, they Liverpool last year. Apart from that, they've not played one. Since United years ago. They are going to be
100% with Gary. That is going to be iconic, amazing, a cauldron. Everything that our football team at the moment
football club
are
Rangers
completely mentally set up to be able to fight against.
Stratton Colberg, who has a right of reply, has said the club is fragile as fuck.
Don't be negative.
No, but listen.
Yeah,
he's right.
Listen,
Stratton, we're just saying we wouldn't be doing it. We can't do a podcast and come on here after another defeat and 1 win in 7 and just sit here and go, it'll all be fine.
I could sit here like Chemical Alley and say everything's fine while everything's burning behind me. But the reality is, everything is clearly not fine at the moment. Yeah. And I've been as patient as I can be and I've been as positive as I can be. But I see how well coached Chelsea were and how chaotic we were. And it was embarrassing.
Thanks for that, Ronnie.
Yeah, 2,672 fans will be going to Ibrox. Yeah.
So, Johnny, who do we need to look out for in the Rangers? Tavernier is like a name you always kind of
takes a great penalty. Now, we were going to have a Rangers fan on. We had a really good guest line up, actually, but we made the decision, actually, Tottenham was the biggest story, and we always like to get the opposition guests on this show, but Tottenham was the story. Rangers, I have to be honest with you, don't watch much Scottish football. They did beat Kilmarnock 6-0 at home the other week. They're on a run. They
won 3-0.
Philip Clement was under pressure. They've since won 4 in a row.
He's still under pressure.
But their Europa League results are...
Yeah, they beat Nice 3-0.
Bonkers.
Or Lyon or something like that.
They beat... No, they lost
Nice.
4-1 at home to Lyon. They won 4-1 at Nice. They drew 1-1 in Olympiacos.
This is the kind of game where if you manage the atmosphere, which we absolutely won't, you win this game quite. You score an early goal, you quiet them down. Liverpool, I know Liverpool beat them 7-1 last year.
At Ibrox?
At Ibrox, 7-1.
I don't remember that. I probably
Salah came on and scored a hat-trick in 5 minutes.
About 10 minutes.
Okay, that was a bit of a freak, but that's what you can, they're a lower-end championship squad.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is all they can feed off. Let's not disrespect them too much. They knocked out Dortmund with Jude Bellingham 2 years ago, got to the Europa League final. Ibrox is a really, really, really hard game.
Yes.
At home, I'd expect us to beat them comfortably. Away, this is one of the toughest in the competition.
Yeah.
Regardless of the quality
so Gary,
of the
that
and as Ronnie says, they would love nothing more than to put a nail into Andrew's coffin.
But Gary, that comes back to my comment earlier on about levellers. And I'm saying the Europa League for us this season on our league form has been a kind of leveller because we're coming up against these teams who had a week to prepare, who are going to be like sitting in this and that. So that's Ange not having the tools to be able to play 3 games a week, in my view. And therefore, when you're playing Fulham at home, you're not able to get over the line because we don't quite have the depth to be able to do it.
I put it to you that then he has to demand less of his players and alter his tactics. Ask them to not run 34 kilometres a game. Maybe just run 20 or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like sit in a little bit.
That I 100%
sacrifice possession a little bit,
as I
so
said,
he can manage it.
But as I said, maybe think of a different tactic with your spoon.
Right, but he can't.
But he's not, and he's not.
Yeah.
So we're kind of agreeing. But the point is that he has not been given the equipment that I believe can play Europa League and also remember you're talking about Europa League and Premier League all 3 days apart, and you're talking about all the fantastic data we've got. And these guys are seriously at the top of their game to be working at Tottenham Hotspur, and therefore they must be sitting there saying, right, last season, these are the data stats on the same sort of running stats, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have an extra at least 8 games with the Europa League, and we're probably going to have a couple.
I just don't think he's rotated enough. I want to before we finish. Pilch58 says every game changes the narrative. Rangers will be fierce. See how we come out of it.
I disagree.
Pardon?
Disagree. I don't think every game changes the narrative at all. Now. I think the narrative is starting to get quite set.
Yeah.
And even if I was just thinking about this just before you read that comment. Even if we go and beat Rangers, Southampton, and United, I'll still be here, really analysing the performances. What chances did they create? How soft goals did they score? How did we win those games? And I'll still have a little bit of trepidation about what comes next, because I think there is now more judgment on my side than ever with Ange.
I'd go as far as saying if we win them 3 games, I don't even think the pressure is massively eased on Ange.
Well, that's what I was
just keep him in a job.
We know that shit defeat is
it's
round
one
the corner.
Premier League win against the bottom team for starters. The League Cup's great. I am so desperate, like we all are, to win a trophy. And if we beat Rangers, we should be in that top 8. But you still got Liverpool, Forest, Wolves, and Newcastle, and we could be sitting there, going into that Tamworth FA Cup game 14th.
Yeah.
Do we beat Tamworth? No, but I completely agree with you. Remember, the club are obsessed with the league, but also
can't help himself to bring it round.
We need to get into Europe. Forget the Champions League.
Exactly.
Daniel Levy needs us to get into Europe.
He wants an extra X number of games at the stadium. But the point is that I completely agree with you that we know there is a shit defeat round the corner. That's the thing. Even if you win the next 3 games, you're going to sit there and you're going to play a notional mid-ranking Premier League team or lower ranking team, and you're going to sit there and be like, they've done exactly the same things again.
Go on. Well, it just picks up on Lord C. Van Dingo's point here. If it's all about wages, what about the clubs above us?
Correct.
I think they're better coached, Ollie.
Correct.
I just do.
Correct.
We have said for ages, and this is where we used to slightly disagree, with other people and saying, oh, it's early. We had such a bad start to the season after 5, 6, 7 games, right, that we have to go on a great run for Ange to claw it back in the Premier League. We have to win 5 games in a row. I was trying to work out yesterday, we basically need 2 points a game to get into the Europa League.
Well, Jake, friend of the show, Jake Robson, remember him, Flaky Jake? He keeps pointing to Chelsea last season, where you can pick up consistency at any point. Chelsea went on that massive run from about March, April.
Chelsea won 6 league games in a row, and I have said that you can watch back every episode. I've said I cannot see a way how we consistently win Premier League matches, not a 7-game winning run when we beat Carabao, Coventry, this team and that team. I still struggle to see that, and that is why what I just said to Gary, we can win them 3 games, but the pressure won't be eased because you have to. We want to win a trophy so badly, but the Premier League is the bread and butter. And I went to Ange's press conference before the City Cup game, right? And people spoke about, everyone was saying, oh, your trophy. And Ange said, I will be, monitored on my Premier League form. That is where I will be judged. That is the bread and butter, and that is the main way of judging how good you are. You can win a League Cup. That doesn't mean Ange has done a great job if we win the Cup, in the League Cup. And
Ramos won a League Cup.
Ramos won a League Cup.
That's what I mean. Yeah. If we finish 12th and win the League Cup, Ange will be sacked.
Correct.
Ramos won a League 100%. Cup. George Graham won a League Cup.
And that is why people say, you got to stay in the League Cup. Ange will get to the semis. No, he won't.
You say he'll be sacked.
Ange will not make.
You say he'll be sacked. Ten Hag stayed on because he won the FA Cup, and then they sacked him when they realised actually, I don't know why we
not very
kept
good.
him.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he would be sacked if we won the League Cup.
But that's proof why they should have sacked him.
Correct.
First of all, the League Cup will be done by February, March time.
Yeah.
So you see what happens in the second half, the final bits of the season. Remember as well, I don't believe our owners are going to give 100 million to a manager they've got in the back of their mind they're going to sack.
How long did Ramos last after the League
because
Cup?
They are
2.8 games.
It was Ramos.
It was Ramos. Ramos. Yeah. So
there's your answer.
But from the League Cup to 2 points in 8 games, we pretty much lost every game.
Well, this was our worst Premier League start in terms of points since 2019-20.
So hold on.
We had 20 points from 15 games, but Poch had already gone at that point. Poch went after maybe
the second. It was the November international. It was November international break.
So the 20 points from 15 games is a little bit inclusive of Mourinho. And as we've said, Levy is aware of these situations. He'll get twitchy, and if the bad PR is out there, he might pull the trigger.
I'm not sure that we've got a very angry chap here who's shouting at us in caps.
It's like my dad
about I mean, you're kind of contradicting yourself here, Benny Gubbs. You're saying Levy will sack Ange to save his arse, and then in your very next thing saying his tactics are so arrogant, so naive, he's got no chance. So is it Levy sacking him to save his arse, or is it Ange being naive? Make your mind up here. But the reality is, on Levy, he may well sack him. I don't think Levy is under any illusion that it will be to save his own backside.
Of course.
Levy has got a world of pressure on him right now. He's built a stadium where the expectations created by himself have gone up because he himself said this stadium will help us compete and make us compete for trophies consistently and put us consistently at the top. Well, it hasn't so far. So why is that? That can only be because of stuff that is going on at the top end of the club. So I don't think Levy's under any illusion that sacking Ange will somehow take the pressure off him. All it does is it increases the pressure on him as well. He's got to get the next appointment right if Ange does go. He's got to back the man. You speak about, are we going to spend 60, 70, 80 million in January? The good thing about what we are doing now is I don't think we're going to go to a win now manager and a completely different system and a completely different style. So actually, if the right players are out there, then I think we could go and get them regardless, because we will go and get another coach that is committed to possession-based, high-pressure football, and the players will fit into that system. That's the good thing. There should be continuity. Ange did come in to set in place a foundation and a DNA for the club. I think he is succeeding in that, but he will be judged, as you say, Jake, on league, as he himself says, on league, and that is the best barometer, because if you're beating and competing at the top of the league, the Premier League, then you should be beating and competing in Europe.
Can I finish with a stat, please?
Go on.
It's almost like you like them.
It's a little bit off tangent, but I want to just go back, something I've just seen. Points dropped from winning positions by teams in the Big Six since the start of last season. I'm going to go in reverse order here.
I reckon we've done 25.
Okay. Liverpool 12, City, Chelsea and Arsenal 17, United 21, Tottenham Hotspur 30.
To be honest, I'm surprised that Arsenal and City have dropped 17 points from
But 13 more than Arsenal.
5 have come
Chelsea,
this week.
City.
Yeah, but we've also come back a lot. We have come back a lot.
Russ, 5 have been this week.
No, yeah,
Fulham and Finger.
Fulham and, yeah.
That's bloody,
Can I just say on the Levy front as well, and I'm going to say that you, up to 2019, had Levy sold the club at
I
that
thought
point,
I was finishing on a stat and you want to finish on Levy.
Yeah, but,
what's the Rangers predictions?
But if had
had
Enoch sold the club in 2019, having just gone into the stadium and got to Champions League final, I don't think there would still be loads, purple and yellow people. But fundamentally, everyone would say, "Wow, from where you took it from to where you've taken it to, that is incredible. You've done good luck and God bless." Unfortunately, since that point, and I think one of the big problems is that I actually don't, the expectation of the fans are like, we're a Champions League club. We've got all this, and why are we not back there again? And then I don't think there actually is anymore the sort of target set. We were very vocal in the day about having to be a Champions League club, having to be a Champions League. At the moment, it just feels like we're existing.
Yeah.
We are existing, and I think that's why there is this frustration. And it's going to keep on coming here. So the only thing I think Levy has in his toolbox at the moment is sacking the manager. Because he ain't sacking the players, and he's not selling the club anytime soon. So it's only the manager. You get a little manager bounce, blah, blah, and we're back here again. So, this is where we are. So it's, and hopefully we do have a better structure that helps that carry on. But it's kind of where we are, really.
You wanted it. I keep saying we're going to finish and then something else happens. But it's fine. People are engaging. It's great. You wanted to talk about the team for Rangers.
Well, I was just wondering if we should just have a quick preview of Rangers and discuss the team and predictions.
We've talked about Rangers. We know it's going to be difficult. In terms of team, Forster will be in goal.
Well, I know 2 players will start. Benton or Bissouma have to start.
They have
no
to start,
excuses now. Absolutely zero.
Yeah. Is anyone suspended?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, and we don't. I mean, Romero's out. I mean, honestly, I'm so done with him.
Who plays fullback?
It was good.
Gray might be centre half.
Gray might be centre half.
Might be centre half. Yeah, it might be Graham Dragushin.
I think you got to
Ben Davis left back.
Ben Davis is injured.
It's Udogie and Porro.
Jesus,
Dragon. No, but I think you might get Dragon.
Reguilon's not in the squad.
I think for the first time we could see something really different.
Go on.
I don't know who. Because this is the first Europa League game we've now gone into. He's not going to play Van de Ven. He can't play Van de Ven.
He'll play Dragons in Gray.
Well,
Porro
who can
and
it be?
Udogie.
You can't play Porro and
It'll be Dragons.
Doesn't have an option.
It'll be Dragons in grey, Udogie, Porro.
I reckon. I honestly think it could be something mad. I don't even know what. You could change
He might
the
go
formation.
Sarr
I don't
right
know.
back.
Sarr right back, something like that. I'm telling you.
Like Casado did.
Telling you, we could see something like that.
I've got another question then. Sorry, I know you want to wrap up. But going into Southampton, where you've got Bissouma suspended and Bentancur out,
Have to play Gray.
do you?
Have to play Gray.
Do you?
Or you play. I think you're playing the worst team in the Premier League, and that's no disrespect. But I think you go
Or unless you
Sarr,
play
Maddison,
Kula and
Kulusevski.
I'd go Sarr, Maddison, Kulusevski. I mean, listen, I want to see Gray, but I suspect he goes Sarr, Maddison, and Kulusevski.
We've got to stamp our authority on that game. But back to Rangers.
I actually think Gray has been one of the shining lights of the whole season. He has been hung out to dry at times. Left back, right back, centre back. I mean, I've never seen it. It's like Team Utania all over again.
Yeah.
You know, he's been thrown about this as an 18-year-old. Even against Bournemouth, I thought he'd done great.
Yeah.
I've been, impressed. I know he's a bit smaller, but I'd keep
good player.
playing him.
And Bergvall played well yesterday when he came on.
Bergvall played well. I'd keep playing him, Gray. Whether I'd be even tempted to
so
start
many
Gray at right
options.
back against Southampton.
I at this point would be tempted to say to Bissouma, enough is enough, mate.
Can I?
Enough is enough. Like you're out. Great.
He's got 18 months
you're in
left,
it.
so
He's got 18 months left.
Yeah.
He's clearly going to go. Why? We're at a point where we're not going to compete for the league. Just start playing Gray in his position in the six where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Can I actually just say, going back to yesterday's game, I thought Kulusevski scored a great goal, but I actually thought he was pretty poor.
Yeah, he was poor.
And I think he needs to rest against Rangers. I think, and that's Maddison's obviously going to start
I think
against
the midfield
Rangers.
three probably picks itself, doesn't it? Maddison, Bentancur, Bissouma.
It's got to be.
Or no,
which is
both
good.
Maddison, Bentancur,
Bissouma.
Bergvall.
Bissouma.
Bergvall.
Bissouma has to play. Suspended.
Bissouma has to play.
But does
Suspended for
Bergvall?
Southampton.
Yeah.
Whoever's going to take his place should probably play in midfield on Thursday night. So
It's
that's
going to be Maddison, isn't it?
okay.
Probably.
And up front, is it Solanke or Lancashire?
It can't be Solanke.
Well, you've got a problem because
Cannot
Johnson's
be
also now injured. So Kulusevski
Apparently he was
made.
ill.
He was ill.
Yeah.
Well,
He's not
is there illness in the camp? Does it spread through?
So a stomach bug or something. And then
I think the team. I don't even know what I'd do, but Werner and Lancashire have got to start. I know you don't want to go too weak. You can't play Solanke.
Yeah,
I know he didn't play last week, but you can't.
All right.
Anyone
Predictions.
thinks that there's not much to talk about with Tottenham Hotspur, is there?
We've done 90 minutes, probably the best 90 minutes since, certainly a better 90 minutes since yesterday.
Is that 90 minutes?
Predictions.
Apparently so.
We didn't
Says
even
here.
really lay into VAR.
I'm not allowed.
I think we did,
88
though.
minutes ago.
Okay.
88 minutes this pod. All right, gentlemen, very quick prediction for Rangers away. Oliver Spiro. Silence.
2-1 Spurs.
Sure.
Gary Diamond.
Great trip. Happy times. Don't care.
I think we are going to draw 1-1. All right, gentlemen, we will be back on Friday previewing the Southampton game. There is talk, is there not, of us doing a couple of live shows on Sunday around the Southampton game.
That just made me laugh. Excellent show today, Rangers. We've never had defeats in the comments.
Well, we get in trouble for predicting us to lose, and now the fact our people, our subscribers and our listeners and our watchers are saying it. So something's going on at Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah,
Are we doing the live show on Sunday?
apparently so.
I think we should.
We are. We're going to talk. We're going to do a live show before Southampton. We're not doing a watch along.
No, it's not a watch along, but we'll
I'm
do
not-
a preview before and then a sort of a few minutes after final whistle.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Going to
If
possibly
we get a
talk
Southampton fan on the show, can we get Russell Martin's girlfriend?
to Lucy Pinder.
Yeah.
I was going to try and get Matt Letizia, conspiracy theorist. No, and we're going to have, I think, Paul Belveston, friend of the show, coming live from St Mary's after the game. So that's something to look forward to on Sunday evening. We're going to be back on Friday morning, a little bit later, I think, on Friday to preview the Southampton game, but I'll put it on our social media to let you know what time that'll be. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Did you enjoy it? Was it nice therapy?
You've literally taken the words out of my mouth. I'm like looking forward to the rest of the day, but also kind of listening to a lot of the other pods and seeing, what the general mood is around it, because we're in this little micro sort of ecosystem, and you do need to like hear it and think, actually, were we that negative? Actually, we're pretty on point.
I think everyone will be saying the same thing. Right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your comments. We will see you all on Friday, and up the Spurs.